Today's class is about making the most of the off season. So obviously, in the Midwest where we are right now and on the East Coast, a lot of trades are ramping down for the season right now. So this is about kind of finding, how you can be proactive in that off season, what you can do to make the most of that time, and also how you can use CompanyCam to do that. So today we're going to talk, first of all, just about seasonality, and then we're going to talk about diversifying revenue into the fall and winter seasons, which I'm sure a lot of you are already thinking about. And then we'll also talk about how you can use CompanyCam to prepare for next season while you've got a few months to work on that. We'll also be talking about how CompanyCam can help with your winter maintenance or kind of offboarding for the season. And then we'll also talk about maybe using that time to build out your marketing strategy. And then finally, we'll also talk about how CompanyCam can help with taxes and accounting, and then using CompanyCam to train your crew for next season. So without further ado, let's go ahead and move forward here. So as most of you know, probably most of you who are here today fall under one of these trades. So the trades most affected by seasonality are going to be landscaping, roofing and exteriors, power washing, and painting. So if you are in one of those trades, and once again, if you're in the Midwest or you're on the East Coast, you are probably already thinking about, what's next in your season, what's next for your crew. If you are, on the West Coast or especially in the Southwest, you might actually just be ramping up for the season. So you might be thinking about that. But we're going to be talking more about, as your season slows down, what can we do to be proactive? So first of all, let's just talk about seasonal transition. So we're going to talk about mainly diversifying your revenue streams into fall and winter. I'm sure this is not new information to you, but a lot of people who are in especially landscaping, but also roofing, tend to diversify into either leaf and snow removal. So the great thing about if you're in landscaping, transitioning over to leaf and snow removal, it's basically a one-to-one. So if you have a routine maintenance schedule you're doing for properties or individual clients, chances are you can transition that really easily into a leaf and snow removal process with super minimal overhead. So it is, just the process of maintaining enough crew and then also just having the equipment to do so. So, snow blowers, rakes and leaf blowers, basically your buy-in for that, depending on the size of your crew and depending on the size of your clientele, should be, maybe under $1,500 all told. And then the revenue for that, you can be looking up to, an additional $5,000 a season or more, once again, depending on how big your client base is. Probably the biggest moneymaker would be Christmas light installation. So once again, a lot of especially landscaping companies transition into Christmas light installation. What I did want to touch on today is also the benefits of if you are in a roofing company transitioning to Christmas light installation during the holiday season, which typically your ramp up to that will begin kind of around this time, late August, early September. And then the actual install process is usually from about November 1st until probably about the second week in December. The main thing that we always touch on is if you are a commercial roofer, there are a lot of commercial businesses who are transitioning to permanent Christmas lights and also homes that are transitioning to permanent Christmas light installation. That is a major cash cow right now. So you can make up to $150,000 a season, if that is something that you integrate into your business there. If you're on the lower end and you're just doing residential, once again, very similar to leaf and snow removal, you can be looking at anywhere between $5,000 to about $1,500 in additional revenue over the course of about a month. And once again, the actual buy-in on that, if you already are in one of those businesses, either roofing or landscaping, is very low. That will all definitely depend on if you are offering actual Christmas lights that you purchased yourself, and then you'll retain those, or if those are maintained by the owner. Always recommend taking a look in the off season and stocking up on Christmas lights if that's something you're interested in transitioning into. The other one that I don't think a lot of people think about is equipment rental. So if you are a power washing company or if you are doing siding work, three of the largest equipment rental searches that happen during that off season are for scaffolding, lifts, and excavators. So if you are a company that has these pieces of equipment but doesn't actively use them in the off season, you may want to look into marketing using CompanyCam and then renting out this type of equipment. And then finally, we also have maintenance and storage. So if you already are storing large pieces of equipment like mowers or lifts, excavators, things like that, and you have additional space, you also may transition into a storage business or a small scale storage business for either personal equipment or even motorcycles and watercraft. Typically, if you do have the space for this and you do have people who are interested, you can charge anywhere from about $100 to $150 a month for those types of equipment storage. So definitely something to think about as you go into the season. If you do have that additional space, if you're already doing all of this storage and maintenance for your own equipment, maybe get some passive income by storing other people's equipment on your property as well. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about using CompanyCam to prep for next season. All right. So one of the main things that we would recommend doing, once again, if you're going into an off-season situation, is using CompanyCam to create a maintenance project and potentially use seasonal checklists to make sure that you are keeping to a maintenance schedule, and also just to make sure that when you are storing your equipment or offboarding for the season, that you are doing it properly. So I have created an equipment maintenance project here in CompanyCam. This is based on kind of a typical landscaping equipment maintenance project. So what we have here, as we pull this up, you'll see that we've taken a series of photos that are showing various points of the maintenance process for our equipment. But probably the main way that we're going to check this off is by using our to-do lists. So in this case, I have created a winter storage checklist here. And this will obviously vary depending on your types of equipment, depending on when your off season is, depending on what your typical schedule and maintenance is for your equipment. But you can create winter storage checklists or maintenance checklists that will make sure that you and your team are doing absolutely everything you need to do for every piece of equipment that you have before you store it for the season. So in this case, we have our mowers, we're making sure that we're cleaning the chutes, and then we can indicate if you're needing to add a photo as part of that project or excuse me, as part of that task or not. So the great thing about this is not only are you making sure that your team is doing it, but you're getting that photographic evidence that that is being completed. So you can also add additional questions here on those checklists. So if you're needing to check spark plugs, things like that in mowers, you can always indicate, is that something that needs replaced next season? Yes or no, so on and so forth. So once again, just go through your equipment list, think about all of the routine maintenance that you need to do month over month, and then you may want to go ahead and just create that. Typically what you'll do is you'll create that project at your kind of home base address there, and then break it out into what different types of checklists you might need. The nice thing about that is you can always save these checklists as templates. So if you want to break those out year by year, you can save that checklist and then just reuse that over and over again. The other thing that you can do is you can use labels and tags to actually make sure that you're keeping to your maintenance schedule. So in this case, I added a tag to some of our photos that we can take a look at here. So if I know at March, I need to actually do certain types of maintenance, I can create a tag for it and apply that to the photo. And then in this tags drop down here, when I'm in my photos section, I'm just going to go down to my March maintenance tag. And then you'll see here that we have a few different photos that we've taken that we've tagged with that. So in this instance, we do have the description here that this is going to need sharpened. This blade is going to need sharpened by the time we hit March. So that mower is ready to go by the time we start having actual landscaping jobs. So that is definitely something you can do. You can break that out month by month. You can do labels on the overall project level, or you can do tags on the photo level. All you need to do is just go to your photo, click that add tag button. Then you can drop your list down here and select that tag. If it's a brand new tag that you need to create, we'll just say April maintenance here. This is a new one that we don't have. You can go ahead and then you'll see that create April maintenance tag right there. And we can apply that. Obviously, we don't need both of these, so I can just exit out there, but otherwise I can click save tag. All right, so we're just going to save that and move on here. All right, so in addition to that, once again, you can also check your inventory. Make sure that your team is taking photos of your inventory. You can use the annotations to label certain parts of your inventory, or in your process there, such as if we did pull up our mower here, in the description or in the tags, you could also put where you're stored or where you're storing these materials. So if you have a number of hand tools and you want to make sure you know exactly where those are located, if you have multiple storage locations, you could always add a tag there to make sure that you are aware of where you're keeping those. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to move on to, there we go, building your marketing strategy. So what a lot of people start to think about, especially towards the end of the year, as they're starting to work out their budgets, as they're starting to think about the year ahead, is how do we build out our marketing strategy? If you are not already using CompanyCam showcases to show off what you're doing as a company, that is absolutely something that's going to help you, and it's going to make it a lot quicker for you to introduce photos onto your website, allow truth and transparency for your clients to see exactly what you're doing as part of that entire process, as opposed to just adding one or two photos here and there into your gallery, loading them up, forgetting about it for a few months, coming back in months later and adding a new one. If you're not already familiar with CompanyCam showcases, excuse me, we'll just go here. I'm going to show you our friends at White Castle Roofing. They currently have the CompanyCam showcase installed on their website. So that is going to be a widget that is going to allow your clients to search through certain projects that you have allowed to create showcases for on your website. And then you can also tag what type of project it is, what types of products are being used, and also the city and state locations. So they can search through that based on exactly what they're looking to do. So in this case, if I'm looking for a residential re-roof project, I can click on that and save, or if I'm looking for commercial, I can do that and deselect. So I'm just going to click save there, and this pulls up the project that matches that label. So once I click in there, I can just take a look through all of these photos and see exactly what White Castle Roofing is doing and if that's going to match my needs. So once again, this is going to be a really awesome way for your clients to actually get really granular with what they're looking for from you, and also for you to show off all of the work that you've done. This is once again really great for painting, power washing, landscaping, and obviously roofing here, as I'm showing you right now. So on the actual project, all you'll need to do once you have the integration installed, you'll just need to go to your actual project here. So I'm just going to go to this. We'll do this bathroom remodel right here. And I can just click on, this is saying edit showcase. We already have a showcase created for this one. But if you do have a brand new showcase that you want to create for this project, you'll see a create showcase button up here in the upper right-hand corner. When I click on edit showcase, it's going to look the exact same as if I was creating it for the first time. So this is going to let me select what project type it is, what products I've used, the title for it. I can create a description, and then you can choose what photos you want to include and what you might not want to include. So it's going to let you get really customizable with the type of showcase, as opposed to a gallery where you're just throwing up kind of the best random photos that you have there. Just speaking of making sure that you do have the best photos, I might also recommend, as part of that process, tagging your marketable photos. Once again, using that tag functionality. So if I go to my photos here, I've created a tag for marketing. And so I can make sure that I have all of my best looking photos if I am wanting to include that. Oops, that's March maintenance. We're just gonna look at those marketing photos. So I have my best marketing photos all tagged. So if I want to create a flyer, or if I need to do an email containing some of this material, I can do that. And I can make sure that I have the best photos included there. You can also create a report if you've pulled everything up. All you need to do is just select your items there. And then in your actions, you can create a report. Or excuse me, you can create a report using your reports button. All right. So the other thing, and I don't believe we've gone over this in any of our prior classes, is we have recently launched a Chrome extension that will tie directly to CompanyCam. So if you have ever kind of struggled with the process in CompanyCam of getting your photos from CompanyCam over to Facebook or Instagram or any other platform, this Chrome extension is going to make this a lot easier for you. So Bree is going to go ahead and throw the link for where you can install that Chrome extension in the chat there. So just click on that, and that should guide you right through it. But once you have that ready, you can just go ahead, and I'm just going to pull up my Facebook account here. And all you need to do is make sure that once you have that Chrome extension installed, you're going up here to your Chrome extension icon, that little puzzle piece. And then under the CompanyCam extension, just making sure that that is enabled. So for each website that you do want to start uploading photos to, you will need to make sure that that is enabled. But the nice thing about it, you will only need to enable that one time, and that will allow you to do that going forward. So since we have that enabled, let's say I want to add some photos or videos to my Facebook account here. I'm just going to click on photo or video. You'll see the upload section. I can just click on that. And this is going to tie directly to CompanyCam. And I can search for my projects over here and see what I want to pull up. So I'm just going to pull up this address. We're just going to look at this AC leak here. And then I can select the photos I want to include. So I've selected all 4 of those, and then I just need to click upload. And then this is going to let me upload those. And you can add a description there and then just post. So this will work pretty much the exact same for Instagram, or once again, any place that has a Dropbox that you're wanting to actually input any photos directly from CompanyCam into. This way you don't have to go in and download your photos, upload them individually. All right. So yeah, the other things that you may want to do is build a mailing list or leads from existing projects. So if you have companies that you do want to reach out to in the future for either customer testimonials, or that you're going to want to send flyers out to, once again, using tags and labels is going to be a really, really awesome way to do that. So once again, it's a very malleable piece of equipment using those tags and labels. Use it the best way that you see, according to kind of the same way that you might use folders currently. Just make sure you're actually able to find those photos later on. All right. So moving on, we're going to talk about prepping our next season's crew. So what I would probably recommend here, if you don't already have a piece of heavy duty hiring software that you're using, or if you don't think that you need that large of a piece of software, you can use CompanyCam to do a lot of that. The best way to do that is to create a hiring project, much like we did with our maintenance project, and then you can create hiring checklists. So with that, I created a hiring project here. And the awesome thing about this is basically whenever I am hiring on somebody new, I'll just go ahead, upload their photo here as part of that process. But I'm also going to include any documents that I need here. So you do have that document upload section. So if you are needing to include, any contracts, drug tests, anything that you might need going forward, where you're going to need a downloadable copy of that, CompanyCam is going to be a great place to store that. So anytime that you need it, you can just come over here, download that, and then share that with your new hire that you're working with. And then here I've once again created a hiring process to-do list. So if you want to create a master list and then go through that hiring process for each person individually, you can just save it as a template and then break out a new hiring process for each one of those. So I created ones for myself and for Sarah here. And the great thing about this is you can break this out into sections, and then you can just do individual tasks here. So, as part of our interview process, we might ask if they have a referral, yes or no. Can determine if their resume was reviewed, first interview, if you want to continue with the second interview, so on and so forth. You can also include rating scales as part of the to-do list here. So if that's part of your interview process, that might be helpful for you. And then you can make sure that all of this information has been sent on, and you can also require a photo if you want to, take a photo of that resume, if you want to include anything there that you might need to keep in perpetuity. But all I did, if I need to create a new hiring process for a new employee that we're bringing on, I can just go to create to-do list. And like I said, I saved that as a template before, so I'm just going to use an existing template and click on this hiring process one. And what I might do up here at the top is I'm just going to go to this option. I'm going to rename this list. So hiring process, and we're going to do this for Bree Campbell. And then going to save that. And now I have a customized, completely usable hiring checklist that's individualized for that person. And I can edit any of these fields that I need to, or I can break out multiple hiring checklists for different positions or different seasons, anything that I might need to do to customize that a little bit more. The other thing that I have done here is say that you are needing to track down any terminated employees or any employee status, anything like that. I can once again just go to my photos here. You'll see that we'll just click on this guy right here. You'll see that he has the tag of terminated, and it's probably because of that pink shirt. So we are going to go ahead, and if I need to find all of my terminated employees, or if I need to find all of my employees that are under review at that time, once again, I can just go to my photos, tags, whoops, and then just scroll through that list, and I can find my terminated employees list. And as of right now, it's just me. So the other thing that you might see that I did there is, since I am including headshots there, I have added a description there of any information that I might need. This is a pretty sparse list here, but hire date, role, any other information that you might need, you can input there. The cool thing about it is I'm going to go back to that project and say I brought on a new employee. I need to include all that information. I can just go to the description section here, and you can type that in, but you can use your text snippets to create a template for that. So I've created a hiring profile. I'm going to use that, and then I can just fill out this information or have my HR department fill that out once that's input there. So once again, it's pretty versatile. It might not cover every single base that you need for hiring, but for just a simple way of keeping track and making sure that everything is done as part of that hiring process, that's going to be a huge tool for you. All right. The other thing that you can do there is upload training materials, appliance or product manuals, anything that you might need. Once again, you can just put that directly in that documents section. And then on their phones, if they're in that project, they can just go into the documents section, pull up any documents that they might need to from there. The other thing that you can do when training new employees is on our premium tier, we did just add our video walkthroughs. So that's going to be the same as taking a video, but you'll be able to use your forward-facing camera too. So you can explain as you're walking someone through a process, and you can save that as part of any project or as part of your hiring project in order to train your upcoming hires. All right. Any questions so far? I know we've blown through quite a bit in a pretty short amount of time. Okay, perfect. So I did mention that for accounting purposes, especially as you start getting into tax season, we can definitely use CompanyCam for that as well. So if you are, we'll go once again back to our bathroom remodel process. If you are needing to include any receipts or anything like that, you can use the documents section here or the document scanner on your phone to scan in any receipts. And then you can also use your tags and label functionality just to indicate if there is any disputes, anything like that, that might need to be addressed during tax season or as you move on for any accounting purposes in the future as well. So just make sure you're familiar with that scan documents. If you're using a different platform for that already, CompanyCam is going to be a really great way for you to scan in those receipts and documents and make sure they're all in one place. All right. So just as a reminder, if you are using CompanyCam right now on a monthly basis and you want to really expand and use it throughout the year, our annual pricing is going to save you 16% every year. And so that is whether you're on Pro or Premium, it's going to save you a lot of money. And the more users you have, the more money you're going to save by doing that annual pricing. So, it definitely pays for itself in the long run. And it's definitely a great way to track all of your projects throughout the year, even as you move into the off season. So any additional questions before I let everybody go today? Okay, perfect. Well, once again, thank you for joining us today. If you do have any questions, you can always reach out to your CSM. If you don't know who that is, you can always reach out to success@companycam.com. We'll be happy to walk you through any of these features or answer any questions that you might have. Or even if you just want to kind of plan for the year forward, we'll be happy to walk through things with you. Once again, thanks for joining us and have a good rest of your year.